What's going on, people? Welcome to the opposition preview. I'm joined by Stephen from the Toffee Blues Everton fan channel. The description will be in the comment section down below to look ahead to Saturday night's game against Everton, a massive team with a lot of history, which we've struggled against, over the past, well, since we've got promoted, to be fair. But let's get all the insight. Let's see if we can get the job done on Saturday. As always, drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into it. Stephen, thank you for coming once again on the channel.
No worries, mate. No worries. Yeah, we've done a few of these. There'll be a video going up on our channel as well. Spoke to you a few times, of course. Spoke to you a couple times last season as well. Yeah, good. Everton's just an absolute melting pot of chaos all the time. There's always something going on. There's never an easy day as an Evertonian. Whether it's good or bad, it's always chaos. You know, when we're not playing well, people love to moan. When we're playing well, people don't really know how to react. People are I seen one of them anonymous confession pages on Twitter, and they were like, one of the anonymous confessions was like, I support a sports team and I love it when they lose so that I get to moan more, complain more. And I'm like, that guy's definitely an Everton fan. But so far, at the moment, it's going pretty well. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So of course, Moyes comes in. Daesh is, he gets sacked, which was a bit of a surprise to me. The timing of it right before a game, and then the rest is history. Feels like over the past 4 to 5 games. But how would you sum up your season then? Daesh, Moyes coming back. Are you excited? Are you looking forward to the rest of the season? Or are you like, let's just end the season and start fresh again in the summer?
Do you know what? Under Deitch, I couldn't wait for the season to end. I just wanted to get over the line. Now, I genuinely think, no bias, I think we can win every home game between now and the end of the season. All our home games, Arsenal will be a tough one, but we all know what Arsenal are like. They're due a downfall at some point, and now Havertz injured. I honestly think we can win every single home game we play now between now and the end of the season, because there's that belief's back. I mean, last night, that Tarkowski goal, the fans got that over the line. In what world was that ever going to happen? It's just absolutely mental. A centre-back just coming up and scoring a volley in 98th minute. That's Goodison Park that day. That's not logical. That there's no XG, there's no stats that can explain that. That was Goodison Park. Goodison Park's, it's cursed in good ways and bad ways. I was saying, I saw the video. Do you know what? I saw a video from another Palace fan, Ollie, on TikTok, and he was mentioning that's the greatest game of football I've ever seen. He's like, in what world does that happen? He's like, it's not about whether it was a draw or a win. It's not about 3 points. It's not about XG or or pre-assists or touches in the final third. It's about that stadium being an absolute bear pit for 90 minutes. The first minute I said that was 1894 at Goodison. And, it's now 131 years later. In the final one, that was Everton. If you want to see what Everton's like, it's we don't ever do things the easy way, like I said before. But I'm looking at it now thinking, United at home, City at home, Arsenal at home. Every other game really is I think we've got 6 left. And I honestly think we can win all 6 of them. Away's a bit tougher. Sometimes, Bournemouth on Saturday in the Cup was a tough one. We didn't take our chances and they took their 2 chances. So that was a bit of a tough one. And I think this side will lose games between now and the end of the season. But what makes me happy is it won't be for lack of trying that we will lose games, because I think we will just keep going. And David Moyes has got the romanticism of it. He's got that feeling back now. So let's go to the end of the season, give it a good send off, and then go to the new stadium and hopefully write some history there.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. You summed it up perfectly there because I've been in that position as well, where you just lose belief in a manager, in a team, and you just want the season to end. But David Moyes, he understands Everton, and I think it was the right appointment to make. Of course, he was at your club before, and sometimes you shouldn't go back. That's what they say, but it's not always bad. Sometimes you can go back, and it does work out better. And I think it's the right appointment. You could have went for someone a bit more exciting, a bit more young, but with you flirting around the relegation zone, you just needed someone to understand Everton, and he does. He really does. But do you think your latest game against Liverpool, fantastic game to watch, as you mentioned, do you think that could take a bit out of the team emotionally, physically, ahead of this game? Because, I mean, you're playing us on Saturday evening and you had that game on Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I do think that there will be a bit of a hangover from that game. There'll be, tired legs. We haven't got a lot of squad depth at the moment. A lot of players are injured. I think we've got 8 first team injuries or something like that. So, the players that are playing are going to play now until everyone else is back, and we're going to have to make do with what we've got. We're in a tough situation in terms of injuries, but we did that last night, and while I think there will be a bit of a hangover, and we will, the excitement of that might get to us a bit. I think perhaps there's a case of it's more of an incentive to go and just keep putting points on the board, especially with this one. I mean, people haven't realised. I mean, if you're a fan of mid-table Premier League football, this is an absolute classic. I mean, we're 3 points behind Palace now. You're 3 goals ahead of us in the goal difference. So this game on Saturday is massive for us, and I think after the Leicester game, I thought, okay, probably safe now. I mean, if you're talking about us going down, you've really got to talk about West Ham's and Tottenham's going down because they're in the same position as us now, same points. So now I'm looking up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm thinking mid-table. Ooh, 12th sounds nice, or 11th sounds nice, and then I'm thinking, ooh, do you reckon we can get into the top half? I'm thinking, ooh, 8th place sounds nice, and I'm thinking keep winning. Just
yeah.
That's both of us, and I think you get some funny results this time. And I'm looking at it thinking, well, we're out of Leicester and Wolves. We're worrying less about them now. Let's worry about Palace and United. Then I'm thinking, oh, maybe let's worry about Brentford. And I'm thinking, oh, let's worry about Fulham. And I'm like, that's a good position to be in. So while, I think it might affect us. It might affect us in a good way as well on Saturday because the belief, I feel like a lot of them players are just running on pure adrenaline now, and they're going like, oh, let's just have a go. We may as well, and I think that's what David Moyes has done. He's come in and he's identified the things that was wrong and fixed them, and it sounds dead obvious, doesn't it? But no, I personally. Everton, I was speaking to Craig about this from Bournemouth last week, that you can buy the best players, you can buy the sexiest manager, but Evertonians know what they like, and Evertonians like to have that comfort and control, and while it may be like, oh, a lot of clubs it would work. I'm thinking like, your Brightons and your Brentfords and your even Palace now with Oliver Glasner, and I'm thinking, oh, for them clubs it works to get a manager in and give them time and let them put the stamp on the club over maybe a year or two, then see how they're doing. With Everton, like if we get like a foreign manager in and he loses the first few games, fans are just like that. It's like it's like, well, the standard we expect is just so high, I think, because we've been there before years ago. We're still a huge club, but sharing the city with Liverpool, having United and City down the road, we demand a lot, and I'll be the first to admit that we do demand a lot. But I think that's better than settling for rubbish. So David Moyes came in and he knew exactly what the fans wanted the second he got here, and he's delivering it. Whereas I think if we'd have got somebody else in, there would have had to have been bedding in time, but there wasn't any bedding in time, was there, for Moyes?
Yeah, there isn't, and he's done well so far. He hasn't had any preseason, of course, and even the window, you I believe signed only one player. But talking about players, you did mention 8 injuries, and one of them could be Ndiaye, which I think would be massive for Palace. I think in terms of a boost with the opposition missing, which is unfortunate. You don't want to see players get injured, but you've got a bit of an injury crisis, which I think Palace could take advantage of. Decore also got a red card. But who should we watch out for those who haven't watched Everton so far this season that Palace need to stop in order to get something out of this game?
I think I've been really impressed with James Garner. Midfield player, had his injury problems, which is why he hasn't played a lot, which is why Palace fans might not have seen him. But mate, honestly, on the ball, he's unbelievable. I mean, if you want to see him at his best, the third goal we scored against Leicester, that really is like he sort of gets the ball. He's inside his own centre circle, and he plays this ball that somehow is so close to the centre back, but the centre back can't get near it. And the only thing I can say is it was like if someone had a magnet and was moving the ball with a magnet across the pitch, and it fell through to Beto, slided it through perfectly, and Beto finished it. So James Garner, he's got the legs and he's got the creativity. I think a lot of people are probably expecting, because we've got Idrissa Gana Gueye, who's a very defensive-minded midfielder, good tackler, who's been playing fantastic as well this season. They might probably also expect the other player to be like that, but James Garner's not like that at all. James Garner could probably play in the number 10. He could probably play on the wing. He's played at right back before. If I had to compare him to someone, he reminds me a lot of Mikel Arteta when he played for us. In that he's that deep lying playmaker. He can put the ball on a 50-pence piece. And yeah, I think he's the one that Palace have got to watch out for, because his link up with Beto has been something else since Moyes came in. And I think Beto's going to be if we're going to score, it's probably going to be Beto. And if anyone's going to lay it on for him, it'd be James Garner. So, I mean, I know there's Man United fans who are like, we got Kobbie Mainoo in centre midfield. He's not the one we should have kept. We should have kept James Garner. They sold him to us, and he's been unbelievable. And I know there's United fans who are like, why did we sell James Garner? Because I think he offers a lot more, on his day, offers a lot more than Kobbie Mainoo does. Granted, they're very different players, but there's been a bit of a thing with United fans that he probably would fit really well into their team at the moment, and he's what they're missing. Lucky we've got him. It's just his injuries that really have. He had a back injury, and Moyes has played him, but then still been like sort of taking him off with like 10 minutes to go. But if I'm a Palace fan, watch James Garner, because on his day, he's a fantastic footballer.
Yeah. What about Palace? Who worries you the most?
Oh, well, I love John Philip Mateta. I love that guy. I wish he was playing for us. To watch Palace, that he's the one that I'm really, really worried about. Of course, we spoke about Eze as well on our channel. But I think all over the pitch, Palace have got really handy players. I love Munoz as well. I think Munoz is a fantastic fullback who's not getting the attention that he deserves. So the thing with Palace is they've got such handy players who can have moments in them. So I think really in the case of Everton looking out for certain players, I would be a bit worried about Munoz, because especially with Ndiaye, if he's out, he's very good at dragging the right backs out of position so that they can't go forward. if it's Jack Harrison, it's going to be tough because I think he's a really, really good fullback, and one that like we could really, really use in our team.
Yeah.
Both of our fullbacks are really defensive minded, so I don't know if that'll really play into Palace's favour on Saturday, because of course we got Jake O'Brien, who's used to be at Palace,
Yeah.
and then we got Vitaly Mikalenko on the other side. So, yeah, I think for Palace, but Mateta's the big one, isn't he? I mean, you'll hear the second he starts scoring, you'll hear like Sky and Carragher and Neville and all them all trying to sell him, going, oh, he shouldn't be playing for Palace. But do you know what I mean? He reminds me of what football used to be like, where every team had like a Mateta, didn't they? Or like we had Yakubu, and then you had like Newcastle had like a Demba Bar or something, and you're thinking like every team had one big standout player that could play for one of the big clubs, and I think I just love Jean-Philippe Mateta. He's a proper throwback, and I honestly think if Beto keeps playing the way he is, he could get to that level if he keeps scoring like the goals he is. But Mateta can score any type of goal, I think. I think that's what's really good about him. And if he gets a touch in the box, our centre-backs have been a bit of an issue recently. They don't look comfortable playing with each other, which is really weird, because Tarkowski and Branthwaite were fantastic last year. So, yeah, I'm a bit worried about Palace. And I think Palace have got goals in them as well. So that worries me as well.
Yeah. So what do you reckon about score prediction then? I went for 1-0. I think it'll be a tight game. Funny enough, when Glasner last faced Moyes, he's faced Moyes twice. He faced Moyes whilst he was at Frankfurt against West Ham, and he beat them in the Europa League. And at Palace, when he faced Moyes at West Ham, he beat him 5-0.
Wow.
5-2 last game. So that is a whole different scenario, West Ham to at the end of the season to Everton now. But I do think it'll be a tighter game because I think both teams have very good defenses, and we've seen that so far this season. Palace, the home form is questionable. It has to be better, so I think it's a point to prove. But I think we've got enough with the players that you're missing to create that one opportunity to nick the game 1-0. And for us, as you said, it's a big game because if you beat us, then you're level on points. So we need to try create that gap. So I'm gonna go for 1-0 Palace. What do you reckon?
Well, I said it'd be a bit more high scoring than that. I said 2-2 or 1-1. I think it'd be one of those. I can see Palace going ahead and maybe Everton getting a late goal maybe to equalise. We got the late goal there last season. We obviously won this fixture last season, and we seem to be the only club that can go to Selhurst and win. Because it's a tough place to go, and I know a lot of the teams fighting at the top of the league hate going to Selhurst. But I think, yeah, Palace Everton's like one of my favourite fixtures. I really love playing Palace, but yeah. No, I mentioned it on our channel how much I love Selhurst Park.
Yeah.
When you watch games at Selhurst from like the 90s, mate, the culture at that club is mental. Like, watching it on the TV, you can almost feel the atmosphere coming through, and not just the atmosphere from the fans, but the way the stadium looks and the pitch and the stands behind the goal. It just for me, it's a place that I'm really happy when we win there because it feels like a big win. Obviously, we won this last year. I think really it could be 2-2. We might nick it and go 3-2 as though that could happen as well. But to be honest, I don't think I can't see us keeping a clean sheet because where our defence just looks a bit out of sorts, and I know Mikalenko, you can get at him and drags Branthwaite out an awful lot, who has to cover for him. So I think it'll be a Mateta goal and a Beto goal.
Yeah, look, I think I can see a draw as well. I'm just being hopeful as a Palace fan, back in a win at home because it's been an area where we've actually struggled in. So hopefully that could change. But appreciate you coming on, Stephen.
No problem, D.
Toffee Blues, as well as letting us know your score predictions in the comment section down below. Drop a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And until next time, up the